Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Tremoursphere here, hope you're all doing well. So, today there's a couple of things that I wanted to mention to you guys. Oh god, look, there's geese, caravans, travellers. Soon we're going to come across horses, I'm sure. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the bike might sound a bit different today. I've got the Arai exhaust that I ordered fitted, so that's on. I'm going to give you guys a look around at the Tiger today because it's looking very different. Just going to go for a little ride out today. Welcome to good old dreary England, because I'm pretty sure at first we're not forecast rain and then we are forecast rain, so I'm not quite sure where it's going today, but I'm going to go visit a spot that I wanted to come on the Tiger last time and I was on the MT-09. So now my Tiger's got some badass dual sports, an Arai exhaust and plenty of stickers. It's kitted out for the occasion. So like I said, we're going near some really nice scenic valley where I wanted to take some shots of the bike anyway, so that's where I'll stop and show you guys around and show you what I've done. I did do a video explaining all the little mods, and I did a little review of the Mitas EO7 Dakars, but I had really bad hay fever that day, and to be honest you can hardly understand a word I'm saying. So I'm a lot better today, and I'll probably do a separate video on the Dakar EO7s when I don't have a pillion with me. Basically, there's two things I want to talk about today. One is insurance companies, because my annual renewal has come up. So that'll be the first thing I'll be talking about. And then secondly, there's quite a big design flaw with the Triumph. I think it's just the new Tiger 800 in general, not the 900, obviously just the 800 like I've got. Obviously, I think this regards all models, including the XRT, the XC, the XCX and the XCA. I think it regards all Triumph models, all Triumph Tiger models anyway. So we'll be going over that as well, but firstly, let's talk about insurance companies until we get to the point where I can actually show you around the bike of it and explain the second half of this video. So, I was with Bennett for my last year, and the problem with Bennett's was they don't do a multi-bike policy. Now, Bennett's are actually pretty alright. They come in at a relatively cheap price. They give you everything you could really want. Just the multi-bike policy seems to be a bit of an issue, and more importantly than not, like, I think they do multi-bike policies, but they don't do them for bikes at separate addresses. So that's something that obviously is a real problem. I couldn't really have that, so I unfortunately had to say to them, you know, like, your renewal's only 40 quid less than last year, which for a start I think they could do better than that. And secondly, you know, if one of my bikes is technically uninsured, it's not really something I can go ahead with. So unfortunately I had to cancel with Bennett's, and then I had the long old task, as I'm sure most of you guys will be aware, of finding a new insurance company, and here comes the rain. So finding a new insurance company is an absolute faff. I normally use Money Supermarket, but because these days I'm looking at multi-bike policies and not single bike policies, Money Supermarket is a complete waste of time. I mean, when I was looking through Money Supermarket, putting all the details in, this is just an example, right? I've been with BikeShare before. They were a pretty alright company, to be honest. They came in just the same as Bennett's, really, like well priced, but just with less of the extras. But I was just like, I'll give them a go, because they came up as like third best price. MCE came up as the first best, and I will never go with them again as long as I live, because they are just shit. They're fucking awful. If you're with MCE, sort it out, get rid of them. If you have a crash, they're horrendous. They do not want to know at all. They're so unhelpful. They'll try and avoid paying you out every way from Sunday, and you know, that's added stress you don't want after you've just crashed your bike or whatever's happened. So for that reason, MCE were completely off my list, and I'm pretty sure Baron Van Grumble did a video on this a while ago. But insurance companies are just out to rip you off. That's just a fact. and I was really trying to look for an insurance company who weren't trying to rip me off, but you know, it's easier said than done, right? So I obviously had the problem with MCE, and then I decided to give Adrian Flux's bike share a go, to which I was highly disappointed yet again, because the woman on the phone was incredibly rude, basically called me a liar about every bit of information I told her. They even wanted to know about my tank pad and my front beak, the decals. They just wanted to know about the stickers on my bike. I was like, what does that have to do with an insurance quote? Apparently, if I didn't tell them that I had a tank decal and some decals on the front nose piece, they would not pay me out in the incident of an accident, which I was gobsmacked at. I was like, are you having a laugh? I told them about the exhaust, I told them about the headlight grille, because they change, well, I don't even need to tell them about the headlight grille really, but I did anyway. And then apparently they needed to know about that, and that was my first red flag. I was like, that's strange. And then they wanted to know about my basically all my incidents and accidents and such. And if any of you guys have been following the channel for long enough, you'll remember about 5 years ago I had an accident where I wrote a GSX F 650 off on my first day of riding it, and I had a really serious motorbike accident. And that now has expired in the terms of insurance, but for some reason they wanted to know about it, so I have nothing to hide. I just told them about it, and they were like, oh well, that's still relevant. And I said, well no, because you know, I've never had an insurance company want anything from me after it's been longer than 3 years. 3 years is normally the cut-off point. And they were like, no, we keep them on record for up to 5 years. So they were going to up my insurance for that even after 5 years. And I was like, are you having a laugh? I was like, you're all right. Because even Bennett's didn't do that. Bennett's were like, 3 years, anything in the 3 year range needs mentioning, anything else, you know, it doesn't matter. So I was a bit peeved about that as well, to be honest, because that's gonna, I'm no idiot, like that's gonna knock my insurance up like easily another 70 to 100 quid most likely because of that, because it was a my fault accident. So I was annoyed about that, and then she started saying to me that she didn't believe how many no claims I had and stuff like that, and I was just like, I haven't even given them any money yet, and already they're doing my head in. So the final nail in the coffin for me was, I was doing it on an evening after work, and she says, oh well, I'm going to have a word with our lenders and I'll give you a ring back. And then I never heard anything back for 2 days, and I was just like, well, I am not going to go with a company that take 2 days to get back to me with a quote when I've just been on the phone for 45 minutes with them and they can't even get back to me in the same day. And I was like, screw that. So I decided, let's just write Bike Share off, because they're obviously not a very good company. And I decided to look further, and I remembered from a while ago that I started to think to myself, what insurance companies, rather than who's the cheapest, like who would I actually like to go with? And then I started to think and ponder, and then I remembered B Moto, and I remember seeing B Moto from a 44 Teeth video, and they were advertising them because they had discounts. And I'm just going to go ahead and say right now, this video is in no way, shape or form sponsored by B Moto, but this is just one of the best insurance experiences I've ever had. So I just need to say that before I start explaining how good it went with B Moto. So immediately rang up. There was about a 5 person queue to get into the through to somebody. And when I got through to somebody, the queue wasn't even that long either, which was quite good. But when I got through to someone, he was a biker himself, which immediately is better because he knows what I'm talking about. He doesn't need to ask me every question under the sun because he has common sense in the bike world. So I started explaining my bikes to him and that, and he started telling me about the titanium cover that they offer. And if any of you guys are aware, with most insurance companies, like it's £30 extra a year for breakdown, then there's 50 quid for helmet and leather cover, so on and so forth. They simply say they buy the package for £38, and then for £40 they just give you everything in that titanium package. That's UK European breakdown cover. That's also including helmet and leather for up to something like £10,000, which is massive. And that will also include helmet cover and, you know, personal accidents also included. Basically everything is included. Every extra you could imagine is on this titanium cover for £40 a year. And I was like, wow, that's really good. So I went with the titanium cover, obviously, because I watch 44 Teeth. I get an extra 10% off on top of that. And then just going through the details with the guy was so effortless. I didn't feel like it was a chore like I do with most insurance companies. He was just like, he just wanted the regs. I gave him the regs. He just wanted to know what the buildings that were like were kept in. And then he was just like, right, I'll go get you a quote. And it was as simple as that. And he came back with a quote. And it was more expensive than, say, MCE or Bike Shore. And by the time Bike Shore had got back to me, I'd already taken this policy out. That's how slow they were. And basically, yeah, it was a bit more money. It was similar to my last year's insurance quote, but for 2 bikes on a multi-bike policy, I didn't think it was too bad, and all the extras I got included. And the thing that I thought to myself more than anything else was, at least if anything happens, I know I'm with a good insurer who's easy to get hold of, they're very helpful, and, you know, like the guy said, he was like, we've got you covered. And I just felt like I was better in their hands than any other insurer that I'd rang to that point. So that's my experience with B Moto. Very, very positive. I gave them a 5-star review basically as soon as I came off the phone and got my documents, because they were just really good, really polite, really helpful. No question was too many, and I'm really impressed. And I'm sure I've heard a lot of people say some good things about B Moto when they've been with them and stuff. And although they may not be like uber cheap, there's probably a reason why. Sometimes I've always noticed when I used to do Money Supermarket for my CBR and stuff, MCE were always the cheapest, and it makes you wonder why, doesn't it? And it's because, in my opinion, if you have a problem, they don't want to know about it. As soon as they've got your money, the customer service will be a nightmare. They'll try and not pay you in any situation possible, and a lot of these insurance companies are like this, and it's nice to actually be with a different type of insurance company, one that's not obsessed about just money. Obviously they care about money, they're a business, but the customers are important to them. That's clearly apparent. And I remember as well, one of the other key features for me, which they said, was if you want to make any changes to your policy, we don't charge extra for that. A couple of dirt bikers. They don't charge extra for changing stuff on your policy, and that's another thing that's just like, it's an unnecessary expense that insurance companies seem to push onto bikers and car people. But it's nice that in the bike world you're constantly buying bikes, more often than cars, I would say. And to know that you don't have to pay £25 every time you sell a bike or buy a new bike, you know, it's nice to know that you don't really have to worry about that. And they just seem very fair. All the stuff, there's so much stuff they laid out on the table, I can't remember it all off the top of my head, but I've covered a lot of it. And they just seem really good. And I'm really impressed, and I'm looking forward to working with them for at least this year, I'll see. But they said that they would also provide a good renewal price, which I got to admit, Bennett's renewal price was pretty poor. So that's all the insurance talk I've got for you guys today, but I've just got to say that, again, not sponsored by B Moto, but I would highly recommend getting a quote off them for your bike, and just, you'll see what I mean. As soon as you get on the phone with one of the representatives, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about compared to other insurers. But anyway, that's that. Now we're going to go into the dreaded woods, the dreaded wet woods, because look how wet it is in here. So try these tyres out on a bit of wet road. Doesn't look nice in here. It's clearly been raining. Times like these, it's oh god, that was a big bump. Times like these, it's nice to have WP suspension. There we go, we're out. Oh my god. Good thing I've got these EO7s on to partly tackle all this off-road surfacing. I need to partly remember where this road that I would like to take is as well, because it's not as straightforward as you may think. It's also a really nice view around here. It's just a shame it's such a rubbish day. I don't know why. The forecast at the minute is just... I don't even know what they're doing, to be honest. I think, personally, they're sat in BBC's weather office and they're just there with darts and a dartboard and they're like, will it rain today? Probably not. And then it rains. Lo and behold. They couldn't be more wrong with it, put it that way. It's disgraceful. But let's get on to the other thing. So, I know I've already done a review on this bike already. However, there's something that has come to my attention over the past couple of weeks, and I've been having a couple of words with people on the Triumph Tiger 800 owners forum, and I remember a guy posted something like, oh, I'm thinking about joining the Tiger family. Has anybody got any negatives that I may not know about, sort of thing? And there was one thing that I've known about for a while, and I didn't realise it was such a big problem. Like, everyone in the Tiger community seems to be aware of it, but just no one really speaks of it, apart from on the XC forums, apparently. And it's basically that the rear pillion pegs are attached to the main frame. And if anyone doesn't understand how serious what I just said is, just imagine this. The pillion pegs on the Tiger come out quite far. If they are welded to the main frame, if you have a crash, therefore at any speed that's just dropping up possibly off-road, or look, it's the new GS, whether that's dropping it slightly off-road, having a 30-mile-an-hour bin on-road, if the pillion pegs hit the deck and snap/bend, there is a high chance you will bend the frame on the bike. And I don't need to tell any of you guys how expensive a new frame on a motorbike would be. I'm pretty sure one of the guys who I was speaking to said that he just thought he had a little 30-mile-an-hour fall over. He thought it was just going to be a new indicator, new mirror, new handguard. Turned out it was £5,500 because he needed a new frame as well. So the bike was a complete write-off just from a minor crash. And that's really shit, because... oh, it would have been nice to stop there. Damn. Right. At least the missus knows where we're going. But yeah, it's just such a shame that, like, could you imagine having a minor crash and just thinking, oh, it's only a small crash, and then you've basically just written your bike off. You'd be absolutely distraught. Okay, so what I'm talking about is this. You can see here where I've mildly had a little knock when I dropped it off-road on the last time I went out. But you can see I got the Arai one now. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about. So as you can see, when the pillion pegs are out like that, if that bangs in, then the rest of the frame here is liable to be damaged as well. So that's what I'm talking about regarding that, which again, it's only a quick note to mention, really. But if anyone is considering a Tiger, just bear that in mind, that, you know, I'm a bit wounded now. I found out about that, to be honest. But I mean, the pannier racks do serve some form of protection, and they also protect the exhaust, so that's a win-win. But yeah, I've got the Arai fitted now. These are the decals I was on about on the front that the insurance company were adamant they had to know about. So I don't understand. Maybe they had an extra 10 brake horsepower, I don't know. Got the headlight grille. These are the EO7 Dakars. The auxiliaries came with the bike, obviously. And this is the rear tyre here. So yeah, we'll just get a thumbnail there. Lovely. And I may just quickly get some shots of the bike while I'm here. So yeah, I guess we'll do that.